So Evelyn here is a strength and conditioning coach with AOS Strength. She is a dedicated coach and founder where she helps athletes and everyday individuals unlock their physical potential through science-based training and performance strategies. She will share how strength and conditioning can help people move better, build confidence, and develop lasting habits for long-term health. Evelyn will also introduce her innovative AOS Boxing Battery, a physical or practical assessment designed to make advanced sports science accessible for striking athletes in Vancouver.
So a little bit about me. I was a former competitive boxer. I have a master's degree in kinesiology. I've been working in the industry for 13 years now, and I've got clients that range from athletes all the way to 70 plus. So a little bit kind of the title of the presentation is coming full circle. So I actually didn't start in the fitness industry. I started in architecture and engineering. I did that for about 3 years. Didn't love it. I think it was 2010 at the time, and there was a bit of a recession, and I wanted to help design homes for homeless people and get into that, but was never really able to enter into that market. And so I just felt like I was, helping rich people design their homes, which it was all right, but it wasn't something that I was truly passionate about. So at the time though, I was also competing as an amateur boxer, and I really found there was a lot of passion there. I loved the movement. I loved the high energy, the intensity, and basically decided that, kind of strength and conditioning, changing careers, something that's a little bit more in person where I could help impact people's lives. And that's where I decided to completely switch careers, go back to school, study kinesiology. But through my whole athletic career, I was studying and then eventually got my master's. And then during that time, I founded AOS Strength. So why Avos Strength? So the word Avos means grandparents in Portuguese. So I was inspired by both of my grandmothers, who were probably the strongest women that I know. Unfortunately, they both passed away from pancreatic cancer, but they were, like I said, some of the strongest women that I know, super resilient, always tons of joy and love. And so I wanted to kind of create that same community within my company, essentially, of having people continue to move, be healthy, active, and continue to enjoy life, if that makes sense. So our mission at AOS Strength is to help people stay strong, active, and confident, so that way they can keep doing the things that they love. So whether that's competing, playing recreational sports, or just chasing after your grandkids. So a lot of people just assume because I have a master's degree that specializes in high performance training that I just work with athletes, but I actually really enjoy coaching general population clients. So think your everyday athlete, whether it's a grandmother, you name it, that's where I actually get a lot of joy from. So in terms of why I love what I do, you're building relationships with people, you're helping see confidence grow, you're being a part of someone's kind of routine and support system, really celebrating those kind of small wins, even if it's like a first pull-up, being able to, a random one, my client the other day was able to open up a pickle jar on her own and didn't have to ask her husband, like little things like that might not seem significant, but really do play big impacts in people's lives. And then probably the center one, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important ones, is, moments of connection and laughter. I think that today it's really hard, or, you're separated from your family and loved ones, and there's just not as many opportunities to create those connections. And I know Ryan does a good job with bringing people together online. So things like that, where that one-on-one connection, I think, is really valuable and important. And that's one of the reasons why I love what I do. So yeah, that's some of the reasons why I really love coaching, and not just athletes. Like I said, you get joy out of coaching athletes 100%, but I think I actually might get a little bit more joy from just coaching the everyday person as well. So today I'm talking about kind of coming full circle. So like I said, I started as a boxing athlete, changed careers, went into strength and conditioning. And now I want to talk a little bit today about the development of the AB, so the Avos Boxing Battery, and now how I'm starting to kind of help work with athletes again. So I still do my regular one-on-one training with all sorts of clientele, but this is kind of another offshoot of something that I've recently created. So what is the AB? It's a high performance testing system for striking athletes. So we're assessing all sorts of things such as explosive lower body power, strength, endurance, punch force. So we're using kind of lab grade tools, but able to deliver it in like a field kind of everyday setting. So it's going to allow people to track progress. One of the big things with the AB is that we're also benchmark your data against elite level athletes. So if you do a counter movement jump, I can tier you as, if you're above average, elite, maybe below average, based on previous data, which is really cool. So why the AB exists? So I've been in the industry, like I said, I competed in boxing for 8 years competitively, but I've also been involved in the sport through like refereeing and officiating on the board for a little bit. And so boxing in general as a sport lacks, I would say, like a consistent field test. There's not a lot of testing that happens at all, in my opinion. It's one of those kind of old school type sports where a lot of coaches still think that, strength and conditioning and that type of thing actually makes you slower. So I'm trying to help elevate the sport and bring it into the 21st century, essentially. So the AB helps coaches kind of get objective data to help monitor progress and make decisions that guide training. So it's not just for coaches, it's also for athletes. And then the athletes benefit, like I said, by being tiered and benchmarked to be able to track their progress, get buy-in, and kind of see how they're tracking and developing and making progress over time. So essentially, I'm trying to help bridge a gap between kind of training and performance in that sports science realm, but bring it into a realm that's accessible. And so what's setting it apart, essentially? It was obviously developed by myself, who's a boxer. I did a lot of research in my master's on boxing, looking at the science, the research, that type of thing. A lot of it's built on validated strength and conditioning metrics. And we're using some pretty cool devices and tech devices to measure things like jump, height, punch force, and strength as well. So again, we're helping provide athletes or individuals with data, benchmarks, and giving them kind of a clear area of focus. Nowadays, everybody loves to have data, which I think data is great, but if you're not doing anything with the data, it really doesn't serve any purpose. So with the AB, I wanted to make something that's actionable that can help guide people once they've done it. So who is the Avos Boxing Battery for? I know it says the word boxing in it, but essentially it's for anybody that does any type of striking. So it could be a competitive athlete in boxing, Muay Thai, any type of striking sports, so MMA, kickboxing, but also for recreational athletes. So if you're a first-time, boxer or kickboxer, and you're just starting off with your trainer, and you kind of want to see where you lie. So where are my strengths? Is it in punching power? Is it in actual strength, explosive power, that type of thing? So it's also providing, like I said, a baseline and kind of clear direction for beginners. So if you're a recreational person that does any type of striking, come at the beginning of your season, get test, kind of see where your metrics are, and then, in 6 months to a year later, come back, get retest, and see how much progress you made. How much harder do you hit? If you've been working with a trainer or doing your own strength training, has your strength increased? Has your vertical jump in terms of lower body power and explosiveness increased? How's your conditioning increased? So we're in the Avos Boxing Battery, we're collecting a bunch of data to kind of give a complete profile of where you are. And sure, we compare you to benchmarks of elite level athletes, but really at the end of the day, you're just comparing yourself to where you are now and kind of where you want to get to. So the Avos Boxing Battery essentially is for any striking person, anybody that wants to kind of improve safely, build confidence, and see kind of some actionable data and where they need to focus on in terms of their training. So I've got a quick video here and we'll see if it works. So Ryan was saying before, if there's any particular like offers or anything like that, I guess if there's anybody that's interested in it, please check it out. If you're watching either live or later, you can use the code FighterFit200. The regular price is $259 to get $200 off of it. And yeah, that's just a little bit about the Avos Boxing Battery, about what we do at Avos Strength.
Holy smokes, Evelyn, that is amazing. You're so cool. That is odd. Your presentation, the name, how it came about. That is,
Yeah.
that's powerful stuff, right? So like, like it just hearing the what's the word I'm trying to look for? Hearing the creation story, or the everything was happening, how you got there, how you got to your position, what journey you did to get to here, and having, talking about your the schooling and what you want to do for passion. And oh man, Evelyn, it's just like, oh, I know it's so quick, but just like, you are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. When I competed, though, I fought at the lightest weight class, so at 48 kilograms, so like 105.4 pounds. Yeah, so I competed for 8 years. So like it was really difficult at the time to get competition. So I competed at the lightest weight class, like I said. Boxing for females at the time definitely wasn't, the sport has definitely developed over the past 10 years, I would say. And so for me in an 8-year career, I only had 15 fights. If I was a male, I would have had 60 plus. And it was just, and that was a part of the reason why I retired too, is just too much of an uphill battle to try and find the competition, find the fights. You're constantly training and not deloading because you're not getting that competition that you need. Or I'd travel all the way to the States, all over place, like to the East Coast. And then it'd be like, oh, like your opponent's dropped out or they're sick. And now I get to be involved in the sport in a different capacity, right?
Exactly. Even though you went to one direction, but you still have the passion, or you still wanted to be a part of it, and you just shifted the gears, and now like you're kicking butt, rocking and rolling, and you have a great career with it. And also what you touch base on, how happy you are working with your clients. And that's at the end of the day, is how happy are you? Like, are you working with what you're passionate about? And you are, and you are making a difference. What you guys your coaches are going through, and to hear what's going on in your head, or what are you overcoming, or what obstacle, or what's really progressing you forward, to hear the what's going on behind the scenes, and the presentation and everything is just, people need to see that and hear it, because now they know more than I know more about you, of who you are as a coach. Totally. And to present that, it's amazing stuff. And of course, having the boxing battery, that is phenomenal, because I'm not sure, I try to be a numbers guy, but having numbers and stats to work with, to showcase where you are and where you can, right?
Yeah, I think that's very much a missing piece, is like, I mean, and irregardless of whether you're in boxing or kickboxing, it really doesn't matter. I mean, this even applies just to strength and conditioning. I mean, even if you're not a striking athlete, we can take the striking component out of it. And if you're still testing strength, you're testing vertical jumps, so counter movement jumps, squat jumps, so you're getting concentric force, reactive force, and then conditioning in terms of aerobic and anaerobic, like that alone is valuable information for people to have, even if you're just working on your own conditioning or working with a trainer. Like, come get tested, see where you are, and then, train with your coach or on your own if you're following a program for 6 months to a year, and then retest and see where you've improved, or what areas you maybe should have a little bit more focus on and energy put into it, right? In terms of like my younger self, if I was getting into any type of training, is make sure that you follow something that's structured. So I know that it's, especially in, irregardless if you're working with a trainer or doing your own thing in classes, like classes is great and movement, but try and, if you're doing classes, like record what you're doing, if that makes sense. So like, I know that a lot of classes don't follow a typical schedule. Some of them do, where they do the same thing week in, week out, which is great, because now you can actually see that progressive overload of where you're improving. But I always tell clients and tell people, like, remember that if you're doing a bunch of stuff and just throwing stuff on the wall and hoping it sticks, like it probably won't stick. Like, in order to get really strong, you need to be doing things consistently. And the strongest people in the world really aren't doing tons of the fancy fads and whatnot that you see on Instagram of people, I don't know, upside down on Bosu balls. Like, they're just doing their big rocks. They're doing squats, deadlifts, push presses, simple things consistently over time, progressing by adding, reps and weight. And it really is, it's not that simple, but it really is more simple than people think. Like, you don't need to be chasing the newest fad. Like, get really good at the basics and keep track and record what you're doing. So that way, like I said, you have, whether you're doing something like the Avos Boxing Battery where you have metrics and data, where like actionable data, or you're just writing it in a notepad or, on your computer or whatever, and keeping track of what you're doing so you can actually see how you're progressing and making progress.
Beautiful, exactly. It is, keeping it simple. Exactly what you were saying. We have 1,000,003 information overload, and we can get lost in the actual what works and what makes sense, but also not to get injured. Right? Like always, I tell clients too, there's certain physiotherapists I'll follow. If there are certain kinesiologists that do post, because they are wonderful at posting certain things and explaining the exercise and what the bone or the muscle are doing in this particular movement and how it can benefit or rehab your injury. Like, okay, I'll make sure I like this because the algorithm will keep showing me similar things. But yeah, awesome stuff. Oh my goodness, wow. So to hear her to the background story of the inception of AOS Strength and how it came to be, and how her path was going towards a different career, and the knowledge base or the university, and kind of shifting it towards something else. And talking with youth and trying to figure things out of what you want to do as you grow up. Who do you want to become? And it's sometimes you might have to do that switch over, and sometimes you have to listen to your heart and realize, is this the right direction I want to go to? Is this the right path, or am I becoming, in this path of going to this career, am I becoming the person that I want, that I can be proud of? I don't want my kids, or I don't want myself to be 30, 40 years down the road and not happy of what I accomplished or what I didn't accomplish because I was on the wrong path, or slightly off what I really had intention of doing. All right, so I don't want that for people listening. I don't want that for youth work that we've done. And it's beautiful stuff hearing everyone share the insights and tips, and of course the scientific background of each speaker that we just heard from. All right, so that is amazing.